My grandmother, Snarr, who was Ann Bishop, she lived in Midvale. Grandfather in Murray. It was love at first sight. But she was a lot better looking than he was, but he had the personality and he had the savvy. And so it made a great team. Now, she was just so sweet and so humble. And just the kids loved her. All the grandkids loved her. She just was like a magnet. They just were attracted to her. And she's the kind of a lady that just could think of one thing. That's her family. That was it. She never really went beyond her family. She's not going to talk about politics or anything else. It's the family. That's her. That was, and she was just nuts about my grandfather. Now, the children, there were 8, 4 boys and 4 girls. The oldest looked like my grandfather, not all that attractive in comparison to the others, but she had the brains. She actually ended up moving to California, bought a grocery store back in those days, and operated it, and lived a very prosperous life. Now, my father, who was the third son, and if I remember the 5th child. He was the 5th child. He, and I've been told this, was the kind of a guy that you're going to look at him. He was well built. He was the best baseball player in the high school. And they named him Airedale because he could knock the home runs. He played a little semi-pro baseball. He was just good looking. I remember when I was selling billboards, a couple of the people I sold signs to, "Are you Merlin Snarr's son?" "Yes." "Your father is the best looking man in Bonneville County." And he was extremely handsome. I was amazed in an early life watching him. His hair was beautiful. He had hair, and he had it till the day he died, just natural wavy. He could just take the comb and go like that, flip his head like that, and it'd fall in apart. And I was just taken by that. He had mammoth hands and great arms, and he just he was built to be a farmer. Just the strength was there. Now, the sister older than him, Ann Snore, named after her mother, Carol, my wife's uncle, told me, "Your aunt, Ann Snore, was the most beautiful lady that ever graduated from Idaho Falls High School. When she graduated, she went right to Hollywood, right down there. Fortunately, she was saved by a guy from Provo, Utah, who was an artist. He went down. He wanted to be an art director in movies. They met, and I don't know where they met, but it was love at first sight. So she gave up all hopes of being an actress or whatever. She became a housewife. His story is rather interesting. When Gone with the Wind was being made, he was a major executive in the production of that movie. David Selznick realized that his aspiration to create, which I think is the greatest movie that's ever created, was Gone with the Wind. The story is so stirring of America. It wasn't gimmicky. It was a real story, and of the Civil War and all that happened before and after, and on we go, with great, beautiful Clark Gable and etc. It was just, the story is just unequaled. Well, Selznick came to these executives and said, "I would like you to consider where I will give you stock and not pay you any money while this movie's being made. And you can gamble on earning a profit just like I'm having to gamble on the stock. He took it all. His entire salary in stock. I'll take my whole salary in stock. Well, the movie, in terms of really making money, if we determine what the value of money is today in relationship to what the money was worth then, let's say $1, is still the number one money earner of all time. It's Gone with the Wind. Well, it made him a millionaire. And he was wise enough, had that Mormon church stuff in him, and he invested in property at that time in Southern California, apartment houses, etc. And so he died a very, very wealthy man with the most beautiful wife you could ever imagine. I remember seeing her. She was voluptuously beautiful. I mean, just breathtaking. Well, his two younger sisters were also gorgeous, and get the most popular girls in school. The family was. I remember years ago talking to a girl named Conrad, who graduated in our class. And this was pursuant to a class reunion. And she was, I was talking to her during one of this particular class reunion. And I needed to, afterwards, I wanted to call her on the phone. I didn't have her phone number. I wanted to talk to her about an issue that was brought up in our earlier conversation. So I called her father. He said, "Are you Doug Snarr? You're Doug Snarr. Are you related to Lois Snarr?" Well, Lois Snarr was the sister just younger than my father. And I said, yes. He said, "You know, I always wanted to date her. But, you know, she was too beautiful for me. I was scared of her. But I finally got the courage, and I asked her for a date. It was the best date that I had in high school. But I never had the courage to ask her for a second date." So it's interesting to me. Now, the last one, who was Ruthie, Aunt Ruthie, the youngest in the family, she was a cheerleader all through school. So that's kind of the Snarr side.